1, 2, 3. Hello, my name is Denise Jones Adler. I'm so sorry I couldn't be there tonight, but I'm glad that you are, and welcome. I wanted to say thank you to the Main Street Pops people for organizing this event. It's really wonderful, and it's been a great experience to work with all of the people at Main Street Pops. I'm gonna, as a way of doing this, I'm gonna be interviewed by my studio mate. Should I say that? All right.
Hi, I'm Mary Jones, and there's some really, I think, intriguing and unusual things about your work, Denise, and let's try to unpack some of those. I think one thing that's immediately apparent in the development of your work is the presence of the feminine, of women who populate different kinds of spaces. Can you talk a little bit about what this, these many manifestations of the feminine represent to you?
Sure, absolutely. I grew up I grew up in with 3 brothers, so being the only girl was like meant something special. I always wanted to sort of like, I suppose it's sort of like making a superhero, but I also grew up loving mythology and sort of fairy tales, and the role of the feminine, the female in those stories was always like strong and powerful. And so that's what I'm trying to channel, that power, the feminine power of what I was looking at, what I was reading about when I was a kid. I don't know.
You also seem to use the feminine as a path into a global view of the world and to culture in general. Can you speak about that a little bit?
Sure. I like to make a story when I'm painting a picture. It's like I put in the story, I put it might be a dream I had, or a story I read in the newspaper, or something I saw on a sign somewhere, and I use the detritus of like around me, like the newspapers and the magazines and the trash, actually, that I find on the street sometimes, to make the work. And I feel like that creates like symbols, and it tells a story. It creates the idea is sort of expressed and sort of like follow through, into culminates into some kind of a picture, and maybe it it doesn't always make sense initially, and then as time passes, you kind of like unearth other things in the layers, and then it sort of makes sense, or makes you laugh, or puts the exclamation point onto the story. That's the idea anyway.
And the density of pattern, it's very kaleidoscopic. It's very microcosmic, I think, at times. And this seems to, I think, also be a very consistent part of your aesthetic. Is that an entirely intuitive response, or is that something that you feel very deliberate about in a particular way?
A little bit of both. I mean, I definitely like that idea. I love that kaleidoscopic. I love that idea of it being kaleidoscopic. That's cool to me. That comes out. It's definitely like sort of intuitive. It just kind of comes out. It just kind of happens. It's like when I'm working on a piece, it's sort of like that's what I'm trying to create. That those layers are trying to, and like when I say I try to make sense of what's going on, that's me trying to make sense of it and putting those two, like those two things together that go like that. It makes sense, and creating the line that sort of connects over here. That's where this all comes together, Yeah.
Bring it
Great
home,
question.
guys. Bring it home.
And in the density of this narrative, how do you know when something is finished?
Good question. It's more of it's a gut feeling, and the character, usually there's some female face turning around, looking at me, saying, "Yeah, I'm here." It's not always easy. It's like, and sometimes it's like that last tiny piece of paper that like a glue on, and it's like there's like I breathe out, and it's like, yeah, that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.